made it to week 9 for the Artist Way. I'm a little bit behind with these videos and I will catch up. I really liked week 9 mainly because one of the tasks, which I'll get into a little bit later, but the theme for this one was recovering a sense of compassion. So a big theme was just more about being kind to yourself, and a lot of the times throughout the whole entire chapters it is about being kind to yourself and knowing that failure is okay and all that kind of stuff, but this one is just a really big focus on it. So it goes through a few different topics, so just around fear, enthusiasm, creative U-turns, and then blasting through blocks as well. So when it comes to the fear, for me, like I really get torn because I suffer a lot from procrastination and distractions, and one big thing they talk about is that the inability to create is not laziness, it's fear. And every now and then I would like berate myself in a little way and be like, you're lazy, you're not good enough, you're not doing any of these things, but it's really just the fear that's getting in the way. And the fear, it's of failure, it's the fear of success, it's the fear of not being good enough, not finishing. And I have a lot of different little projects that I've started and haven't finished, and I think that's just a big part of that fear aspect that it really ties into. And then it talks about blocked artists expend a lot of energy, usually on self-hatred, regret, greed, jealousy, and self-doubt. And then it's about giving yourself permission to start small and having baby steps. And then we're just reminding myself that procrastination isn't laziness, it's just that fear that's getting in the way and stopping me from doing the writing or doing just like a little artist date. I've had a few where I've left it to the last minute, it's not always great, but it's just a reminder that the fear of like maybe something working out or whatever it is, but it's just knowing that the laziness, procrastination, all that kind of thing, yes, it can be a thing, but a lot of times when it comes to creativity and overcoming those blocks, it's usually fear-based, and it's just something I've got to remind myself and remember, and then once I understand it, it's a bit easier to overcome rather than just dwelling or overthinking and getting overwhelmed. The next part was enthusiasm. So it really talks about discipline is good, but it only gets you so far. So you can have like the perfect structure, you can have the perfect calendar and the schedule, and you have like, all right, I'm going to do my writing block at this time every single day, and you stick to that. But what they really say is like, discipline only gets you so far. It's like the creativeness and having the fun that really creates the momentum and really creates that longevity aspect to it. So creating over extended period of time, it's enthusiasm that gets you through it, and it's not discipline. It's an energy supply, like a flow state, taps into the inner child within, taps into the play and the joy. And it talks about how art is a process and it's meant to be fun. You can have it super structured, and I've tried to do that as well. But again, I think that's where the artist date and stuff play in, because it allows you to be like relaxed and to have fun and to like chill out and stuff. And it's just really reminding that it's okay to have fun and maybe do something that you used to do as a kid, whatever it is. But it's that enthusiasm part that's really the fuel behind everything. Like the discipline's the structure, but it's the enthusiasm and the fun that's really the fuel that gets you longer term, I guess. Like, yeah, if you want to be creative long term, or if you want to do a creative project long term, it's like the enthusiasm, the fun that really makes it be successful. With the creative U-turns, when faced with a failure and wanting to give up on an opportunity, don't give up and ask for help. Usually what this one is talking about is like when it comes to self-sabotage, because it can play a really, really big role. And when it does come to a creative career and a successful one, it is built on failures. So when you have something that's about to fail or something that you're not sure about, it's about having compassion, and then that's where the U-turns are born. And it's from the fear of whether it's successful or failure, but it's when faced with a creative U-turn, you ask for help. And it's just making sure that the ego won't get in the way, because the ego will want to claim self-sufficiency, and I've done it before where I've like, I can handle this, I can do this, and then it fails. So if I ask for help earlier on, then I'm going to have a higher chance of success. And it's the same thing, like obviously a lot of creative endeavors can be solo, but it can be more powerful like in a group, or when you have someone that you can hold you accountable, or just have that person to bounce ideas off and everything as well. And there's no shame asking for help, I think, is the big thing. And if you do have a big project that you're really enjoying, or you're getting towards a certain point, you're like, I don't know where this is going, like I might just give up, then it's just that extra step to make sure that you're not giving up because it's too hard, or you're scared of failing, or things like that. Like when you ask for that help, they can come in and be like, well, if you try it this way, that might be better. And then all of a sudden you finish the project. So when it comes to creative U-turns, it's like, yes, you may fail sometimes, or maybe you have a project that you like put down and, you know, have a break from it, and then, you know, being okay to come back to it and don't stress about the break. But it's just knowing that every now and then you may pause or you may feel like you want to give up. So if that does happen, ask for help. Don't let your ego get in the way, and then see what happens from there. The other one, so blasting through blocks. So it's must learn to be free of resentment, anger, and resistance and fear. With the artist's inner creative child, it can act like any child throwing tantrums, which I thought was quite funny. So being afraid of the dark, or as our own like persona guardians, we must create a safe space to work and play. And this particular chapter talks a lot about that play and just allowing yourself to have fun and to not have responsibilities and things like that. And that's where that ability to fill your cup and things like that come from. So it's just really interesting. And I just like the analogy of it, because obviously we talk about our creative inner child and wanting to soothe it and wanting to protect it and helping it grow and prosper. But again, it can act like any other child, like throwing tantrums and stuff. So you've just got to make sure like where that's coming from, and then just having the ability to overcome it. And being able to do that, that enables the creative flow to happen. So it's just a big thing, like when you're able to play, that equals joy, and the joy equals like the enthusiasm, which is like the momentum for creativeness to keep on flowing and to keep on happening. And what was really interesting about this particular one was they had a list of questions to ask before any big project, and one that will help discover and remove any potential blocks before beginning, but also just make sure like this is the project you want to focus on as well. So I thought that was good. So maybe next time if I'm wanting to start something massive or maybe start something big, I can answer those questions and just make sure that one, I'm on the right path, and then two, I'm uncovering any blocks even before I start, so I don't hit like that halfway point or even like that 25% point and be like, oh, like I'm not interested in this anymore, or I don't want to do this anymore. So it's just, again, helping that flow continue, and then also addressing any blocks that may be discovered later on. There are a few tasks in this one that I really like. The first one was reading through the morning pages. So earlier on in the chapters, it actually says just brain dump everything, and then don't worry about reading through or anything like that. So it's just about creating that habit of writing every single day. And this particular one was go through, highlight, maybe like color code, any particular like reoccurring themes, or maybe just stuff that you keep repeating all the time. So it could be a potential block that you haven't overcome yet and you don't realize until you're going through and like highlighting and seeing all these like common themes and stuff. So like one of them was discipline for me. Like I really just need to work on it. But what I did was I did a few extra tabs. So I've actually got it here. This is version 2 of the morning pages. I've already got one book that's like completely filled. But what I did, I really focused on. So I've got like the different post-its of like tabs. So I've got like to myself, creative writing, capture, so things I want to like capture later on, anything that I have like as a to-do, and then I've got ideas and stuff as well. So I was able to tab it, and I like color and I like color coded, and yeah, I just found it super helpful and I really liked that particular exercise. So now once a week, I'm just going to go through and just see if I've missed anything. And a big thing from it, so going through, there was actually a few stories I forgot that I wrote and a few ideas that I put down as well. By reflecting and going through it, I was able to get into a bit of a flow state, like copying the writing over, and then I was like, oh, I can expand on this. And that was like really fun and really exciting to do. I really liked that exercise. I didn't think we're going to go through and reread the pages, but I think going forward I will, because it's just good, because obviously first thing in the morning when I'm writing, I'm just getting whatever out, I'm tired, and I might not even be fully like tapped into it, so I might forget what it is that I wrote. It's going to be something I'm going to do on a regular basis, and I really liked that particular task that we did. And then one of the other things that I was completely complaining about, like I said, so one was like around discipline, time, inaction, and distraction. Yeah, it's just knowing when those things happen. Like I feel like I'm better at overcoming those, but again, it just takes constant work. And like I was saying before, like I could have the ideal calendar and the ideal structure. I just need to have that momentum and that flow state, so then I do get distracted less and I do have more discipline. And I think it just all goes hand in hand, and then finding that balance. But again, like if it wasn't for that exercise, I wouldn't have realized some of these reoccurring themes that I keep journaling about. The next task talks about accomplished goal visualization, and I think it was in the previous chapter where you figure out what that goal is, and then what you do is that's the thing that you want to work towards. So I wrote, I am a writer. I wrote then what it looks like if I was successful. Maybe in a couple of years time, I've released 3 books and I have like a 4th one brewing, like I have a whole bunch of ideas and characters and the story is just flowing. And then although money and notoriety isn't really the plan, like potentially the books have took off and it's been able to purchase like maybe my dream home. I was able to resign from my full-time job and then be able to write full-time, potentially have kids and be able to raise them. Working from home, like raising a family in a dream home, doing something that I love is, yeah, an absolute dream come true. And then it asks you to create a collage and like add to the collage that you previously done. And I haven't had a chance to do any of the collaging because again, don't really have access to a bunch of magazines. That's sort of just like a block that I'm just letting get in the way. Then it asks you to list some creative goals. So for the year, for the month, for the week. So for the week was just being able to write every day, even if it's only a few sentences, and not letting like that miss block, or just say if something runs late beforehand, that I just still spend some time writing, even if it is like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and just again about building that habit. For the month, really have a structure nailed out and just, you know, maintain that constant writing schedule. And then for the year, finish a book, self-publish the book, have a monthly video diary documenting the whole entire process, have a weekly blog post documenting the process as well. So I really want to be able to document it because I don't know, it's just something I've always wanted to do, like that behind the scenes aspect. Like I've filmed quite a few videos in the past, not all on this channel, like some on the other channel we used to have together. And yeah, like it's just something I'd like to capture, and then you can look at it later on and you can be like, this is where I was at some point. So it could be a success story, it could be a failure story, who knows? But yeah, it's just something I really want to work towards for the year. Then I asked to list any creative U-turns. So for me, I wrote down missing my writing block, so I might as well like not write, like that's just again just like a mental thing I need to get over. Not feeling inspired today or by the characters, so I'm just going to miss it, and then work on overtime today, so I'm going to skip it and just relax instead. So some of those are okay, but for me these aren't really like failed projects. It's more about not having the drive to actually utilize that time, so it's more about like the failed time block rather than like the failed project itself. So I don't really have a lot of like what I'm working on at the moment is writing, and I haven't really released or published anything, so I haven't technically like failed at anything yet. Maybe eventually that doesn't happen because I've got these tools in my tool belt and stuff. So for me, for the creative U-turns is more about the habit and the structure of like actually trying to sit down and doing the work and having that flow and not letting anything else kind of like get in the way of actually doing the work. And then it's asked you to mend a creative U-turn. So with morning pages, so just continuing to work through it, because every now and then I still don't have the momentum to be able to do it, or just don't feel like it, or might get up late and don't have time to be able to do it. So again, just really pushing through and doing it, because after these 12 weeks I want to continue being able to write that many pages. Like 6 is a lot in that little A5, and it's like it takes time to try and fill up these pages and everything, and I don't want to go back to my old journaling habit where I might just write a page because that's all I have time for, or I just can't be bothered. So I just want to make sure that I'm still doing that morning pages work, because I find it does really, really help. And then if I do abandon a story, just like pick it up again and just see how that flows, or ask for help, which would be a big thing. Then it asks you to pick an artist totem that has protective fondness for, so you give it a place of honor, and then you honor it by not beating up your inner child. So again, it's just that reminder to have fun, to have that play aspect, and just to make sure that you're fueling that creativeness that you have that's inside. So it's a little bit, not lame, but it's a little bit childish, but this little giraffe I've had since I was a kid. My older brother actually used to use this when he made like David Attenborough kind of like style documentary in our like front home garden that we had. Like we used to have a camcorder, so very lucky that we were able to have that, and the old school like tapes and everything. But yeah, he used to put it in the garden, then put on this David Attenborough like British voice and be like, oh, look at this giraffe like in the garden, like in the wild. And yeah, it's just a very like fun, playful memory for me as a child, and just helps with that like imagination and that creativity. So I'll put this on my little bookshelf behind me, so it's always that constant reminder of having that playful aspect, and just being able to know that fueling the imagination and thinking about the imagination is okay. And I don't know what that will come, but said to pick a totem, and that was kind of like the first thing that came to my mind, and the fact that I still have that as well is pretty cool, I think. And yeah, again, it's just like a nice little childhood memory that I have that I can refer back to. For the check-in, morning pages, I was still able to do 6, which I was absolutely stoked about, and it might have helped because I had a few extra days off, and it enabled me to do like 6 days with no problem, which was really nice. Usually try and get that 6 days is a bit of a hurdle and it's a bit of a push, but really easy to do that 6 days, which was good. any U-turns that I experienced, just when it comes to writing and giving myself grace. So it's not laziness. I'm just scared of it not being any good, which is, yeah, still a big thing I try to overcome and still try to think about. And yeah, I just need to show up and it will improve in time. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to not be good. Like, I'm going to be bad to begin with anyway. And it's just knowing that that's okay. And that is my U-turn that I have for it. With Artist Date, it was just a little at-home one. I bought a really cheap, like $9 pottery set from Target, and I thought, hey, that could be a little bit fun. It did break, or one of them did break, so I was able to mend it with a bit of glue and everything was fine, but I really like pottery and I really like creating sculptures in school and stuff, so I think I really might do that again, but I might buy some better pottery and not one just from Target, which is a very cheap kind of like Anko one, but it wasn't bad for an Artist Date. And I put on some music and it was just really relaxing, and I just did like a little bit of experimentation and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was just nice not to think about it too much. I was just creating and trying to be like artistic and just going with the flow, and yeah, I just enjoyed the process. So I think for a future Artist Date, I might do some more pottery and maybe design or do something a bit different, but get better like clay rather than just that super cheap stuff, and then that way it might last a little bit longer. For synchronicity, just going through the morning pages actually was a big thing. I was able to jog my memory about a few stories that I've forgotten about, and then while copying the stuff over from the morning pages, I was able to then expand on certain chapters, and I was able to expand on like characters, and it just inspired me to be able to write a little bit more than I normally would. And I think with that, to actually spend the rest of my Artist Date writing, which I really enjoyed. So although I did pottery, I did spend the rest of the day writing, which was lovely, and I don't really get a chance to do that very often. So good amount of synchronicity for that week, especially when it came to writing. And then any issues, just recovering from being sick and just getting my energy back as well. So that's why I sort of stayed at home, just to be able to relax and sleep in and not stress about going out, and just being able to reboot in a way. And I think that's the whole thing about Artist Date and what it helps you to do. And that's why I like it. So yeah, not bad for week 9. Some really good tools that I now have for future weeks and future writing sessions and things like that. So I'm pretty happy. But yeah, we're almost at the end, which is really, really exciting. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.